Hello, everyone. How are you? Beautiful sunny day in Melbourne, Australia, and also St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all my Irish friends and anyone who celebrates the day. Today, I want to talk about why critical thinking matters so much or should matter so much. And I'm going to reference, the big interview that has garnered so much response and has been quite polarizing. The Prince Harry and Meghan and Oprah interview that happened, I think, just over a week ago, and how emotions are running so high from that interview. So there's two camps, those who are royalists and staunch supporters of the monarchy, and then there are those who are supporting Harry and Meghan, taking, all that was said at face value. So for me, I'm someone who needs fact checking. I need concrete evidence of any claims. What that has meant for me personally is that, I've copped some harsh criticism because I am a person of color who grew up in apartheid South Africa. And so people have, I suppose, naturally expected me to blindly support Meghan and Harry. Good morning, Tanya. How are you? Back to the topic, people have expected me to blindly support Meghan and Harry. But as I said, I'm someone who prefers to be presented with two sides of the story. And I recognize, the people who have criticized me because I am questioning certain things and telling me that I should automatically support Meghan because she's a woman of color. I recognize that would be me supporting from my own personal bias. I'd be influenced purely on the race issues that I've experienced. And that's not necessarily going to arrive at the truth. And when I was growing up, one of the things, my father was a great influencer in my life, and he always said to me, question the integrity of everything. Don't blindly follow something or blindly act out of passion. Use analytical thinking and critical thinking. Be willing to question things. Be willing to debate on things to arrive at the truth. And the truth always involves a side of a story, the opposite side of the story, and somewhere in the middle of those two will lie the truth. So I'm going to go through this thing about critical thinking because I kind of am feeling a little bit sad that it seems to be diminishing in the world, that there's so much passion going on around everything that people don't question. So a college website, the Rasmussen University, defined critical thinking is the analysis of an issue or situation and the facts, data, or evidence related to it. Ideally, critical thinking is to be done objectively, meaning without influence from personal feelings, opinions, or biases. And it focuses solely on factual information. So, why does critical thinking matter in the workplace and how do you improve on it? Firstly, critical thinking builds trust and value. Why? Because it shows someone's ability to release emotions or personal biases and look at facts and evidence to make rational and empowered decisions. If you can't think critically, you can't think independently, and employers value independence. No employer wants to handhold any employee for extended periods of time. They want to know that they can trust you. With important decisions, they want to know that you're going to rationalize and you're going to analyze situations as you find them without allowing your personal feelings to get in the way or even your personal experiences or your personal biases. That's what builds trust, and that's what employers are looking for. And that's why critical thinking in the workplace is so important. I'll give you a couple of examples of straightforward critical thinking in a workplace. For example, triage nurses analyze the cases at hand and decides the order by which patients will be seen. An attorney reviews evidence and devises a strategy to either win a case or to settle a case. A manager, a customer service manager, for example, might analyze customer feedback from customers, use that information in consultation with their teams, and then devise training sessions or services that can better improve that customer experience. So that's real simple ways of analysis and critical thinking. So how do you improve your critical thinking? Well, you pause and research or fact check everything, what is presented to you by the parties involved. Analytical thinking is a lot closer to critical thinking than emotional thinking ever will be. So in other words, you do have to exercise some analysis when you're listening to or evaluating any situation. You've got to identify biases and motives. So it's hard to do this, but it's important to undertake, because here's the thing: we need to act like a judge and be as objective as you can. And some questions to consider when you're watching any situation, even, that Meghan, Harry, and Oprah interview. What you want to do is ask these important questions. What are the two viewpoints of the issue? First of all, are there two viewpoints of the issue? And more often than not, there always is. What are the two viewpoints of this particular issue? Is the information you're seeing trustworthy? Are you missing important information that could impact or affect a decision, your decision about that particular issue? And here's one of the most important questions to ask, which very few people ask. Who benefits if the issue is resolved a certain way? And that's where you get to motive. Why is this information being presented? What is the ultimate motive? Look at that, and often you're going to start finding certain truths that sometimes don't align to the information being presented. But the other thing that we have to understand when we're going through this critical thinking process is that there's going to be three sets of biases. The two parties involved plus your own. Because we have to challenge ourselves that when we're analyzing information, that we're not also letting our own biases get in the way. And so it becomes really important to take that emotional charge out of it. And so for me, it would be very easy for me to be emotionally charged about, say, for example, the race claims that was made in that interview, right? Because I have had such extensive experience with racism growing up in South Africa as a person of color. Absolutely have experience of that. But I've also experienced that in various parts of the world. I lived in the US twice and experienced that, saw that. Here in Australia, I've seen it as well. I've traveled extensively through Europe and the UK, and I've seen issues on racism everywhere. So it would be very, very easy for me to go, absolutely what they're saying is the truth. I'm not going to question anything. But here's my thing. I've only seen one side of the story. I have not been able to determine the facts from the other side. And this is why I encourage people, especially when you're in important places like your workplace, where you spend a lot of time, 10, 12 hours a day, some people, and you have to make important decisions that can, uplift work experiences for colleagues, that can benefit the company, that can grow revenue, that can have projects be delivered on time. You need to apply critical thinking as often as you can. Remove the emotions, remove the personal biases, and become trustworthy. That's how you become trustworthy to employers, when you're able to apply firm and strong critical thinking to any and all situations. Really, really important. And I decided to talk on that today because I've seen so much of it starting to fall by the wayside. People are driven by their own emotions, they driven by their personal experiences, and automatically think that a certain way is the only way and is the right way. But I think if we are to grow, and even if we are to heal in relationships, whether it's cultural relationships, working relationships, personal relationships, we all need to apply a measure of critical thinking in the process so that we can move more towards growth and healing and better experiences for everyone, rather than consistently and constantly stay divided on important topics. So that's my 2 bobs worth on critical thinking and on the topical issues of the moment. I hope it helps. Have an awesome day. Bye.